I'm Natalie Harms, reporter for CoStar News Hotels, and today I'm here with Kerry Mack, Chief Revenue Officer at Highgate Hotels. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So Highgate has a large and diversified portfolio.
Yes.
So far this year, in terms of the types of hotels, segments, where have you seen a lot of growth and where has been a bit of a challenge?
Yeah. I love coming to this conference because you learn a great amount of details, you learn a great amount about forecasting, you meet great people, but I also love to see how we're really measuring up. And overall, our chain scales in our markets are pretty in line with what you're all seeing and what the rest of the country is seeing. Obviously, luxury and upper upscale has been a huge win this year. Growing more than we anticipated, and I think more than your original forecast this time last year for 2026. Mid-scale has actually taken a nice little bump up these last few months, so better than we anticipated. And economy is still economy right now, so I'd say that's that's bringing us on the low end a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a takeaway for me, that K-shape softening.
Yes.
So that's what you're seeing that as well.
Yes,
Okay.
very evident. Yeah.
Okay, so what about when it comes to markets and regions? Are there any ones that are also, that are doing a little better, could be doing better, etc.?
Yes, well, everyone loves a World Cup market, so all of our World Cup markets did really well and are on track to make or beat budgets this year. I would say our big wins has been San Francisco, stronger than we even anticipated coming off of a really strong year. When they have a convention, it really the market just pops and it really drives that entire month for a market. So San Francisco's been a big win. Miami has been a huge win. We knew that the World Cup months would be good. We knew that, they get a lot of South Americans coming in, but they have been strong all year, and we're continuing to see growth down there, which is great. New York is obviously fantastic. We've had a little bit of a pullback in the beginning of the year when the war started, the tariffs started again, but the summer has been great, and outlook looks good. Very strong corporate business, very strong group business. So it's been an exciting time to be in the city, which is where I live too.
Yeah.
So excitement there. And then I'd say the markets, the slower markets. Hawaii had some weather disruptions earlier this year, which was unexpected. But I guess the silver lining to that is it was weather. It's not necessarily demand. And then I think, the international pullback outside of World Cup, the international pullback is a little tough in markets that are heavily reliant on that. So we're hoping that all of the good press and the good news and the excitement of all of the international travelers during World Cup spurs people to book their next trip.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask about this because that was another main stage takeaway this morning of, international still isn't doing what it should be doing, but
Yes.
domestic is up. Is that something y'all are seeing as well?
Domestic has been a huge help, and so we track as well international outbound and international inbound. So I will say these last 4 months of Americans flattening out or actually declining in their international travel, I think has led to a domestic growth. But we still need the international back. They stay longer, they book further in advance, they spend more in the outlets. So we need that segment back to where it was.
Yeah. Let's translate this kind of, macro data to what you do and
Yes.
your focus on revenue. So
Yes.
what does this actually mean for you? What's kind of on your desk right now being the biggest challenge navigating these waters that we have?
Yeah. I'd say the biggest challenge is every time you think you know how a event is going to react or you know how a world event is going to impact your city or your submarket, something about it always surprises you. So, I think we all learned, and I said I was never going to talk about this again, but I think we learned several years ago the Taylor Swift effect, right, of like how events could really drive sub-markets and last-minute demands. And we still see that, but it is, the world. I loved Jan's slide earlier about World Cup really booking 2 weeks in advance, because that is what we saw. Now, what was great about it is World Cup was a 6-week event, so once those 2 weeks started to happen, we had great confidence for the whole tournament. But it was a little nail biting up until that point, because it wasn't there, and we were thinking it'd be like a Super Bowl and it would sell out months in advance or weeks in advance. Same thing with some of the how do I put it, the economic issues, the tariffs, the wars. You never know how that's going to affect a population of people and how they are going to travel or not travel. So it's always the worst in the beginning, but it's hard to pinpoint when that news is going to become status quo almost, and they'll get back to their regular travel patterns. So I think that's probably the toughest part for the directors of revenue and the boots on the ground people, is anticipating these world events and what does that mean, because you have to sort of look outside of a pace number or a goal you had in mind.
We need to get you a crystal ball, and then all would be solved.
Exactly.
With that in mind, when you think of the rest of the year, are you anticipating any big changes to these kind of trends travelers are kind of doing, or are more of the same?
Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, we've had consistent, strong corporate business, which is great. I think that will continue to be strong. We've had consistently strong group business, even outside of World Cup. Really, really strong group trends. So I think that will stay. Domestic leisure is great, and we're feeling good about that. And so I'd say the one unknown piece is international, and we keep a close eye on that in the major markets that depend on it. So I would like it to not stay status quo and go up, but we're preparing for status quo.
Yeah. Well, so far in our discussion, I feel like we've hit pretty much every big topic that we're talking about here at the Hotel Data Conference.
I know.
The one we're missing is technology. So tell me a little bit about Highgate, Highgate's technology, approach to technology, and how it's changing your business.
Yeah, Highgate has always been a tech-forward company. Years ago, we spun off a whole new division called Highgate Tech Ventures, which is really focused on innovative hotel technology, whether it's for commercial strategies, ops, margin, helping to grow margin. So we are very tech focused. We are also very willing in whatever cycle we're in. We saw it, 20 something years ago with, the resurgence of SEO and all of that. We are very big on trying everything. And I think in this sort of new AI world, you don't know exactly what is going to be the winning technology for a hotel specifically, or a type of brand or a type of hotel. You don't know which of the vendors are going to really come up on top for AI search discoverability and how to get your hotel and your brand out there. So we are constantly testing and trying and evaluating, and not everything is the right fit for every hotel. So we also don't try to force a square peg into a round hole. So I think we're very fortunate that has been part of our culture for years. And, we're proud of it.
Well, awesome. Kerry, thank you so much for joining me and chatting about all of this with me.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Terence Baker, News Editor, Europe, Middle East and Africa, and I'm the host of The Upgrade, a CoStar News Hotels podcast for the EMEA region. In it, I discuss with special guests the pressures, challenges, joys and exhilaration that comes with managing, owning and developing hotels, hotel firms and ownership companies in our glorious multifaceted industry. Discovering the EMEA region from the scenic northern shores of Norway to a heights of Table Mountain in South Africa, from a warm welcome in Killarney and Galway in Ireland, to the glistening skyscrapers of Dubai, and most likely some chat about birdwatching, distance running, and the English Premiership. Join us wherever you find your podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on other platforms.
This episode of the CoStar News Hotels podcast was recorded on August 6th, 2026 by Owen Hallstatt at the 2026 Hotel Data Conference and was edited for the podcast by me, Natalie Harms. Find all hotel industry news, including more coverage from the event at costar.com/hotelnews. Thanks for listening.